summarize the events that happened with the Patrick Lowry case, Mickey Biggs constantly states that he did not shoot Patrick Lowry. To summarize the events from the Patrick Lowry case or surrender, Mickey Biggs to this day constantly says that he did not show Patrick Lowry pictures of individuals trying to get him to say that it was my husband Merlin Jerome Smith, when in fact there are documents here to support that he did such that are numbered, docket numbers 1515 through 1516 and dated June 21st, 2010. Also, with that Patrick Lowry case, or at the end of the Patrick Lowry case, then just to show a series of how my family, my business was targeted by Mickey Biggs. My son was then targeted by Mickey Biggs, and I'll let him share that story with you.
I'm Chadwick Mason, her son, and I work with my mother at CAB Bail Bonding. I was a licensed bail bondsman, and before my arrest, I was student government president. I held a title as president of a male minority mentoring program. I also served on various committees throughout campus. I was an ex officio member of the board of trustees at my school, and since then I've been arrested twice, now facing felony charges. I've been pulled over numerous amounts of times in Layton County and Robeson County, and I just feel like Mickey Biggs is out to destroy me, my family, and my friends, and at this time I feel like he's doing a good job.
So at first, before all this happened, you were on different boards, you were a president, you were leading, you were a mentor with a black male mentorship program.
Yes.
You had all these things going for you, and you're how old?
I'm 23 now.
And how long were you involved with all those mentor programs and being president and things of that nature? You're only 23, so we know it's not that long, but how long of your adult life were you involved in those leadership programs?
Right at about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I began enroll in college, I became ambassador at my school. I was only one of 3 other people to be chosen, and I've also been accepted to a student leadership institute where there's only 52 community colleges, and out of those 52, I believe only 30 or so only get accepted, and I was the second person from my community college to be accepted.
In the history of that college?
Yes.
Wow. And so from all that, all what you were doing, you now have been arrested twice.
Right.
And you're facing felony charges. You're constantly being pulled over. And right now, everything of who you are is now in jeopardy. Is that correct?
Yes, and also it's just the questionability of who I am and my characteristics by being placed in the media so often, and it's just I feel like I sometimes have to prove myself to people and show them that I'm not the person that they're seeing in the media.
Or not a felon.
Right.
Okay. No.
And at this
You
time,
could ask him what you said.
Okay, you said you attended Pembroke State University?
I'm at University of Pembroke right now, but before that I was at Bladen Community College.
Okay. All right. And what was the next instance of things taking place?
Following up with the next instance that my family and myself and friends were targeted by Mickey Biggs, on January of 2011, Mickey Biggs showed up at my job to arrest me at that point in time, for obstruction of justice felony charges. At the time that he showed up at my job, I knew the officer that actually came with him. When I walked out of my job, I was met with a police vehicle coming across the street from the parking lot across the street from my job, and the blue lights were on in the parking lot of the bank. as I stopped, or as I was proceeding to get into my car, as I stopped, the officer then turned the lights off and he said, "This person needs to see you," and it was Mickey Biggs in the vehicle with him. At that point in time, the officer has later told me that Mickey Biggs instructed him to keep the lights on in the parking lot as he was talking to me and telling me that he needed to arrest me. The officer stated, who was a St. Paul's police officer, stated to me that he told him, "No, I know Miss Yolanda very well. I've had dealings with her. There's no need for me to embarrass her here at her job."
Okay.
So that was a blatant, their attempt to...
Form of intimidation.
Yes, it was. Then the next incident, after Mickey Biggs then had the blue lights on me, and then as they were turned off, I asked if I could follow them to the jail, and that was allowed. So I drove in my vehicle and went to the jail to turn myself in, following Mickey Biggs. Upon arriving there was another bondsman by the name of Scotty Oxendine, who worked for Cab Bail Bonding. He was going to bond me out. I was told by the magistrate, Mr. Evans Jackson, that...
The magistrate is Evans Jackson.
The magistrate is Evans Jackson. He is a resident of St. Paul's, North Carolina, which is where Mickey Biggs has family. His mother has a business there. Mickey Biggs is known in St. Paul's as well. So this particular magistrate instructed me, he said, "Do you think," his exact words were, I'm quoting him, "Do you think that I'm going to let him bond you out?" And
who is he?
Scotty Oxendine.
Who is
was a licensed bail agent. He is deceased now.
He came to bail you out. He was a licensed bail agent, and the magistrate, Mr. Evans
Jackson,
said to you that...
His exact words were, "Do you think that I'm going to allow him to bond you out and then I show up in the newspaper tomorrow?" And my question to him was, "Why not?" And he said, "Because he works for Cab Bail Bonding. Cab Bail Bonding is a company. Only licensed individuals can perform bonds." Scotty Oxendine was a licensed bail agent at that time. Mickey Biggs was present also during this conversation.
Where was Mickey Biggs standing, and where was he?
Mickey Biggs was standing Scotty Oxendine was standing beside me, and Mickey Biggs was standing right beside him. We were all in an enclosed area together.
So how close together? Is it as close as where you and your son is right now, or closer, or how was it?
As close as myself and my son.
So Mickey Biggs was as close as you and your son?
Yes, he was.
Standing in front of the magistrate?
That is correct.
Okay.
And so I was not allowed to be bonded out by Scotty Oxendine, although he had performed numerous bonds there that day. And as I tried to explain to them that he was an individual, and only individuals are licensed agents, not companies.
So let's make clear. An individually licensed bond agent came to bail you out, and Mickey Biggs was standing there beside you with the magistrate, and they did not allow you to be bailed out by a licensed bond agent. They denied you that.
That is correct.
Okay.
So then, of course, I had to be placed in the holding cell and wait for someone else to bond me out. So our question is, why and how does he have that authority to dictate who can and cannot bond someone out?
And this person had a good standing license that is issued to the individual.
Yes, that person had an active North Carolina bail agent's license. And the magistrates have the ability to check that before you perform a bond. The magistrates check your credentials to make sure that you are able to do so, that you're able to post a bond. So then after that time, the next incident that came about from that was my job that I've been on for over 10 years. I was located in the St. Paul's office, acting in the capacity of customer service / loan processor / also acting branch manager. If the branch manager was out of the office, I assumed their duties or helped with those duties. I then, upon telling my superiors what happened the day prior, the next day I went in and told them the events of the prior day. I was told then that I had to move to another location because of the publicity that this had caused, because in fact it was in the newspapers the next day. So then I was placed in the Hope Mills location of my bank, now being in the position of just a teller.
So you went from acting as a branch manager at one location to being sent to a different location and now coming in as the lowest ranking bank official there as a bank teller.
Correct. My position there was customer service loan processor, but when the branch manager was out, they would come to me for questions or any problems that they may would have. So
the acting branch manager.
Like it was acting in the capacity of a branch manager. So now I am, I've been 1 year at the Hope Mills location as a teller. I've been stripped basically there of all of my duties that I had when I was at the St. Paul's location, supervisory overrides, things like that. And I can't help but question in my mind, is it not because of the fact that the publicity and the media from Mickey Biggs? So, and then the next item that we had also is that the Department of Insurance then came to my job. I was sending faxing items, actually complaints that individuals that didn't have access to fax machines had asked me to file or fax for them on their behalf. I saw Al Kohler, who is Mickey Biggs' direct supervisor at the North Carolina Department of Insurance, and Shane Guyant walk into my branch office, and I kind of got excited. I thought that they were maybe coming in to speak with me about the problems and the complaints that I had sent about Mickey Biggs being one of them and on other bondsmen. They didn't even speak with me, didn't even acknowledge me. They wanted to speak to my branch manager. My branch manager was out of the office, and there was another person filling in for her. They spoke with that person, and the conversation was that they had an employee that was faxing information to them on bank time, basically. So they came not to address the problems that were at hand, but their department and their employee, Mickey Biggs, but to come in essence, tattletale on me and get me in trouble. So there again, it's another blatant attempt to drive me out of not just bonding now, but in banking, my only other source of income. They're trying to get me fired from there. And so with that being said, my job instructed me not to fax any other documents for anyone else, unless they're pertaining to bank-related items. Then our next item of harassment, upon going to court for the charges in which Mickey Biggs arrested me that I referred to earlier.
I just gotta ask one question. You're telling me that you have been making all these complaints, serious complaints of criminal activity, of harassment, and all these things. They did not come to you in any other arena, home, work, meeting place, office, their office, to ask you questions about it, but they actually had the time to come out to report you face to face. They had the time to get in their car, drive to your job, and talk to your boss about faxes you were sending out.
Right.
Out of everything else to talk to, they took out the time to talk to them about a fax, face to face, not on the phone, but they actually came out to talk to them about a fax.
Right, after several, yes.
And they talked for 2 hours about faxes.
Right,
Drove almost 2 hours.
They drove almost 2 hours
Listen, after
to talk about faxes. Sorry, y'all.
After me sending transmittals to Wayne Goodwin, asking him to please hear my cries and hear our situation and talk about this situation before it got out of hand and before it got to the point of the licenses being taken, the only thing that I got out of that was Shane Guy and Al Kohler showing up at my office to talk to my superiors about me faxing items, not about the items at hand, about Mickey Biggs and his abuse of powers and how he is wreaking havoc on people's lives.
Just let me ask you one more question. Have you ever been able to talk face to face with them about your complaints?
Never. Anytime that you call Al Kohler, you're met with an air of defensiveness that his employees do nothing wrong. You cannot talk about not one of his people.
Have you asked for an appointment to speak with him? Have you asked to speak with him about, like, on the phone or face to face? Have you asked to talk with him about your issues in any capacity?
Not with Al Kohler, because his air of defensiveness is such that he doesn't give you that opportunity. So that's why I was going to the top, Wayne Goodwin, asking him for his help in sending in the complaints to the different agencies, the Criminal Investigative Division, whom of which Alcoa